deal with Cat and Okogie, but every team is eventually going to deal with something. So if they don't crack the top 10, gentlemen, to me, this season is going to be a big disappointment.
And yeah, I'd 100% agree on you with that. And you brought up the Harden trade. So I think I've heard some stuff. I don't know if you've heard anything about it, but is it possible that there could be a 3-team trade surrounding that Harden situation where maybe Minnesota is the beneficiary of PJ Tucker, possibly?
Yeah, well, I mean, PJ Tucker 100% is on their radar. I can tell you that PJ would have some interest in coming here. Now, he wants a contract extension.
Yeah.
And I forget what the rules dictate when they can negotiate something like that and when the cutoff is, but could there be some sort of, wink, wink, we'll take care of you in the off season.
Right.
Maybe. I mean, that stuff happens a lot. Tampering happens all the time, pre-free agency. So stuff like that happens. But PJ would have some interest. I'm led to believe have some interest in being here. So yeah, could the Wolves somehow get involved? Sure. Heck, you don't think that Gerson would have some interest in Ben Simmons? I mean, what if James goes to Philly? Would you want to send a bunch of pieces down to Houston and Ben Simmons could end up here? And I think Ben Simmons would complement D'Angelo and Cat incredibly well.
Perfectly.
Like if you could ask, for any player, any star, how about that? Any star to come in here, like I think he'd be the ideal guy.
Right.
And him and D'Angelo played together in high school.
I forget about him. Yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't go wrong having Ben Simmons here. Now, I'm spitballing on that. There is zero traction.
There's zero, no
on that front. So make sure that if anybody listens to this, that they don't aggregate and it shows up on Hoops Hype and Hoops Rumors and all those sites. I'm not reporting that the Wolves are involved in such talks, but I think it's a pretty easy talker, right? Like Daryl Morey's in Philly. We're not quite sure that the pieces Philly has there are going to work.
Yeah.
If Philly ends up making a move for Harden, Ben Simmons is the logical piece going out. Would Houston, if they move Harden, really want Ben Simmons, or would it make more sense to involve some third team and get, some future draft picks, get a good young piece? Maybe that would be Anthony Edwards or somebody else. But wouldn't that make maybe more sense than bringing in a Ben Simmons? So I'm just saying, if you want to start connecting some pretty logical dots, it could make some sense. Now, that doesn't mean James is going to Philly. No. Like Neil O'Shea in Portland has a history with James. Maybe Portland decides to get involved on James, right? I mean, maybe Milwaukee. I mean, James could go any number of places. It's not like he has no trade power. Boston's got so many young assets. And they've got draft picks. Like, what if Boston decides to try and get involved? So that doesn't mean he's going to Philly. I still think Brooklyn, would be an interesting spot with LeVert and Jared Allen, and they have enough young pieces. Dinwiddie isn't expiring. He unfortunately has a partially torn ACL, so it looks like he's out for a while. But his contract at least could have some trade value. So what I'm saying is I'm curious as this Harden situation plays out. Like, to me, it's when, not if, he gets traded. So like I'm highly curious to see where exactly he goes. And if it happens to be Philly, will there be talks of a third team entering the picture?
Yeah, for sure.